Hey, Maxi, obviously when you were traded with the Lakers, you came in with the injury and were able to get back just in time for a couple minutes in that last game. How has that progressed this offseason physically, and kind of where do you feel like you're at as you head into this season?
I feel fully recovered, fully healthy. I emphasized obviously finishing the rehab and doing everything to feel good about that, and then from that point on, build on physical strength, conditioning, and all that. So I'm ready to go.
Maxi, along those lines, what's sort of the plan for you? Oh, sorry, right here.
My bad.
What's sort of the plan for the preseason in terms, you haven't played a lot of live basketball. Are you hoping to use that as a knock the rust off time? What's kind of your hope for that?
Yeah, for sure. Not just the preseason, even the time before now, it was important to just, be back on the court. Having basketball workouts, basketball rhythm, and especially when it comes to like those preseason games, getting back into like playing within the system and not just like a little bit of pickup basketball or simulated situations. So just finding that rhythm with teammates and with our game plan on the court will be very helpful to obviously come back.
We spoke to DeAndre Ayton earlier, and he said this is the best opportunity of his career, or the biggest opportunity, of his career. What can playing with Luka do for him, and how important do you think he is for this team?
Playing with Luka, I think everybody who watches basketball knows that besides his own shots that he gets, will create very easy shots for everybody else. He draws so much attention. So I think there will be a lot more lob threats or like lob finishes for him that he didn't have before. Besides his post-up game, the mid-range jumpers that he has, that will make his life a lot easier. And obviously, he's a physical presence on the court. We played a little bit 5-on-5 pickup, and I feel like he's gotten stronger. He's in great health, and that will just help on the defensive side too. Being a rim protector.
Actually, Brad from the LA Times. I think people have kind of forgotten about you because you haven't played much lately. But can you remind people about your game and how you can help this team?
I try to do the simple things, like kind of like the dirty work, like some other players, set good screens, make the right plays. It's not always showing up in box scores or whatever, but the main thing is to just understand my own role, what we want in our system, and then make the right decisions based on that. Space the floor for Luka to get into the paint, or AR, LeBron, all that. Besides that, obviously like bringing physicality onto the court.
Hey, Maxi. What have been your impressions of JJ as a coach since joining the team in February? And what, if you've had these conversations, what has he told you about your role for this team this season?
I played a little bit with him in Dallas. So he was my teammate for a short time, and I already knew back then, and seeing like all his podcasts that he did, he has a very high basketball IQ and basketball knowledge. And what I appreciate about him as a coach is he gives you very clear rules on what he wants to do. We have a freedom obviously in how to play the game, but there's just basics that everybody has to be on the same page, and he's very structured when it comes to that. So I really appreciate that side of him. Also, as a person, he doesn't hold back. He tells you how it is, and I think that's what we need as a feedback to improve as a player and as a team. And we did talk about, the number one thing for me obviously is staying healthy. You can't be helpful for anybody if you're not healthy, so that's the number one thing for me. And then just like I said earlier, getting back into a basketball rhythm.
Maxi, you've seen Luka work with Kyrie and work with Jalen Brunson, and last year it worked to a large degree in the regular season. Then you guys obviously had the early exit in the playoffs. But what do you think it's going to take to get to the next level with Luka and LeBron and Austin kind of figuring out the best way to play together?
I think, like you said, figuring out the best way. It takes time. A lot of times, what you see in team sports, you have good names on paper, but you got to figure out how to work that together on the court, also for the dynamic of the team and the whole spirit of everybody. So this is the time that we have now. Last year was rush. It's also in the middle of the season where a lot of change happens. Also, it was like one of the biggest, if not the biggest, trade. So there's a lot of noise around it. But now we have a fresh start. We have a fresh team, and we have the time now to get to know each other, get into each other on the court during preseason, and figure all that out. Because obviously, like with that talent, you have a lot of chances to win it all. Thank you, guys.